Something unusual is occurring at Mount Adams, a glacier-covered active volcano situated in south-central Washington state, as during the last month the rate of what are referred to as volcanotectonic earthquakes underneath its edifice has dramatically increased to a rate 180 times higher than what is normal. While typically, Mount Adams would experience a single volcanotectonic earthquake about once every 2.5 years, the last month has instead seen 6 such volcanotectonic earthquakes strike underneath its edifice. This might sound like and is truly still a very low figure, with, for example, the average Indonesian active volcano producing more volcanic earthquakes than this in any given month. However, unlike Indonesia's volcanoes, which as a whole are quite active, Mount Adams has been almost completely quiet in terms of volcanic activity and earthquakes since its last eruption approximately 1,000 years ago. While yes, Mount Adams is still an active volcano, in terms of volcanic and seismic activity recorded during the last 500 years, it ranks near the bottom third of all active Cascade range volcanoes, or the third lowest among Cascade stratovolcanos. This low activity is not helped by the fact that many geologists consider Adams to be a volcano which is in the latter half of its lifespan, past its most intense and frequent period of eruptions, much like the highly eroded Mount Jefferson volcano in Oregon. The 6 volcanic earthquakes which have struck in the last 30 days occurred specifically between September 9th and September 28th, only ranging in magnitude from 0.85 to 1.95. In other words, you would have been hard-pressed to have felt even the slightest motion from the strongest of these volcanic earthquakes, which struck at 6:30 a.m. on September 24th. These quakes all struck at unusually shallow depths, specifically at between 220 meters below sea level and 1,010 meters above sea level. Yet, despite representing the highest number of earthquakes since Mount Adams began being seismically monitored in 1982, I am not of the opinion that these events are likely related to the movement of magma. I say this for 3 reasons. First, new or recent ground deformation has not been detected, and this would almost certainly be measured during any actual magmatic intrusion. Second, 5 of these 6 earthquakes are centered on a specific section of Mount Adams' western half, and this is important because its underlying magma chamber appears to be located off-center, largely beneath the east section of the volcano. Third, these earthquakes are occurring at the wrong depths to indicate likely magma movement, with the deepest suspicious earthquake striking a full mile above the top of its modeled magma chamber. So, what caused these earthquakes? There are 3 main possibilities. Since these quakes are largely occurring underneath the highly hydrothermally altered western section of Mount Adams, this means that they are almost certainly hydrothermal in origin. The first possibility suggests that very small amounts of magma have intruded underneath Mount Adams, but not enough to generate any uplift, resulting in increased heat to its hydrothermal system and thus a higher rate of earthquakes. The second possibility assumes that the same increased heat flow occurred, albeit without any new magma. The third possibility, while highly unlikely, suggests that these quakes were the result of a slow landslide creep on the same section of the volcano which produced large debris avalanches and lahars 3 times between 4000 BCE and 1921. While there is 0 evidence to suggest this, I think it is worth taking a look at the low possibility of a recent motion occurring on the west flank of Mount Adams, as, if confirmed, it could once again place Trout Lake population 850 at risk of being inundated by a lahar unrelated to a volcanic eruption. While Mount Adams has been one of the least active Cascade stratovolcanoes in the last 1,000 years, if we expand our horizons to include the entire post-Ice Age Holocene epoch, it has produced the 3rd most volcanic eruptions during that period among Cascade volcanoes, with the last such event occurring around the year 1000. Regardless of the cause of these earthquakes at Mount Adams, the U.S. Geological Survey and Pacific Seismic Network considered the activity unusual enough that they are now tripling the number of seismic stations near the volcano via adding 2 temporary sensors. On my 0 to 10 opinion-based volcanic unrest scale, I would rate the current activity at Mount Adams as a 1, and I am only saying this because of the potential that more than the 6 measured micro-earthquakes have occurred, but largely went undetected due to the lack of a large seismic network near the volcano. As a final note, I would like to thank my new YouTube channel member Noel Patrick Soberano for supporting this channel.